All right, well, welcome to February 27th. I can't even believe we're talking about the end of February. You come back from February vacation. We always say, you know, after April vacation, the year is all but gone. It certainly is for our seniors. But for some reason, I feel like February 27th, it just feels like it's evaporating before my very eyes. So anyway, here we are, end of February. All right, so here's some things we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to give you an update on the Charter Renewal, a lottery update. Now, the lottery was just held yesterday, so I have just some preliminary information for you. A quick update on the Lesley University Teacher Residency Program for the computer science area that we're doing. We're doing some recruitment, so I wanted to mention it to you in case you know anyone who's interested. There we go. We had a very exciting visit today at Quest Diagnostics. I want to give you a quick update on that. So a lot of this stuff was added just really today. And then a little bit of razzle-dazzle time and some upcoming events, so you know what's coming up. All right, so here we go, Charter Renewal. We had been waiting and waiting. Our visit was on November 1st. You've probably, if you've seen the newsletter, you know the results. I'm going to give you a little bit more information, but the results are in, and yay! All right. It was super, super exciting. I can't even, it was like watching 3 years of work just turn into that, and it was just fantastic. So, all right, so AMSA Charter School was unconditionally renewed for 2020-2025. You know, not a huge surprise, and yet you never know. So it was a huge sense of relief and celebration here for sure. So I wanted to throw out some thank yous. First and foremost to Dr. Lewis, who led our school to a time and place where we can continue to grow and thrive. You know, when we took over the school, there were so many programs that had been dropped and that were non-compliant. I was talking to Jess the other day, and I said, you know, Jess, honestly, if we had still been in that place, I'm not sure that AMSA wouldn't have been close to close down, or certainly would have had a list of conditions that would have been very difficult to overcome. So, you know, Dr. Lewis came over and took over as ED, and every time, you know, we came to him and said, we need to do this, we need to do that, we need to focus on this in order to get through this renewal. He continued to encourage us and be open to that work. So, you know, I will always be so grateful for him and his continued support and friendship. And the others is to our teachers, obviously, who put their whole hearts and souls into the work that they do with our students every single day. We could not do what we do. We are an education organization, and we cannot do any of that work without our teachers. And also to our administrative staff, who have worked so hard behind the scenes, really, to keep our school moving forward. As the teachers are teaching in their classroom, our administrative staff, Liana, Sarah, and all of our folks are constantly working kind of quietly in the background, just making sure that we are dotting all our I's and crossing all our T's, and that, you know, AMSA is an excellent organization on every level, not just our students and our families and our teachers, but also administratively, and that we're all working together and doing our part. Also to our students, who make us so proud every day with how hard they work and how academically focused they are. You know, they do a great job, and they work really hard. And also to our families who support us each and every day in the work that we do. So grateful to everyone, and everyone had a piece in this success. I will say that AMSA, we had our, as I've mentioned before, we had our conditions removed June of 2018. So that was a year and a half ago. It was a very big deal. It was a lot of work that went into that, and yet we have never gone into a cycle, a rechartering cycle, where we've walked out clean. We've always walked out with conditions, and it was only a year and a half ago that we had those conditions removed. So the fact that we were able to go through this whole process, and for the first time in the history of the school, to walk out 100% clean was a huge accomplishment for everyone in this community. So just a couple things. There were 20 charter schools. There's 78, I believe, charter schools in the state. 20 of us were up for renewal this year. And out of those 20, 13 of them were renewed with no conditions. So we were in the top 65% there. I thought that was really, really great news. Half of them were done earlier in the year, and then half of us just got our results in February. So yay for us once again. So now we're starting to look at the work ahead, and this, triggers that we can now start our accountability planning, which honestly we've been talking about for about 2 years. It is now in process. We've been working with the department chairs. We had a 2-hour session in February, and we're planning another 2-hour session in March. And so we already have kind of a sketch of the things that we really feel are important for us to measure as we create that new accountability plan, which will cover us from 2020 to 2025. And the department chairs are a huge part in helping us to develop those goals. One of the things that did pop up was our Spanish-Portuguese document translation. We're behind on that. We're behind on that because it's very expensive. And what we've been doing is adding to those translations every year. But we're going to need to get more creative, and we're going to need to do it more quickly. And so one of the things that we've done since our results is that Mike Finkel was able to take our whole handbook and put it on its own page on the website. So you can click where you can get a PDF of the handbook, which we've always had, but now it's also in the body so that you can go up to the translate button and you can translate it into all those different languages. Okay. Is it 100%? I don't know, because I can't read those languages. And yet I think maybe it's better than what we've ever had, because we've never had it. We also found out it would cost almost $15,000 to have that translated into 2 languages. That's the kind of money that we're talking about. But we're working on this, and we've already made several good changes since we got this feedback.
Is that something our community can help us with like volunteer?
I was just wondering the same thing.
Or does it have to be by people who are like, I don't know, licensed or
So, it's a grammar thing, right?
Right, yes.
And so you can ask someone who speaks a different language, but we don't know the level that their grammar is, right? So, and I know Sarah Preston did one form that she did for the bilinguacy seal, and it was one letter, and she did it in Spanish, and she said, Ellen, it was a beast to make sure that grammar was really right, and she had multiple people working on it. So we're doing the best that we can.
You can kind of see why it's so expensive.
Right.
It is.
It's very time consuming.
Because it's not about what's in it, it's about being grammatically correct and professional and deployable, right?
And like legal, like
Legal documents for the most part, especially when you're talking about the handbook.
Different meaning.
We could get Padmaja to have her team use the cognitive services of, the AI world, right? And start getting that to work.
We were just talking about parsing and other stuff. We are not there.
Not there yet.
I am proud of my kids, but we are not there.
So the next thing we always need to continue to work on is continued outreach to ensure access and equity in our core towns. And yet, our biggest sending district, we're restricted on who we can take, and I'm going to get to that in a minute. So it's tough to have a community that's representative of the community that we serve when we're not allowed to take from the biggest town in there. But we will continue to outreach and do what we can there. And also to continue, to increase special education EL supports in the classroom. That was just noted that, they would. It didn't even say they would like to see more. It just mentioned how much they saw, which triggered to me that we need to continue to talk about that, making sure we're giving our kids the support that they need so that they can work at the rigorous level that we expect them to. All right, now we're going to talk a little bit about the lottery. We pulled our lottery yesterday. So anyway, thank you, congratulations to everybody, even in this room, that cheered us on here through that renewal process. So the lottery was pulled, it was run by one of the folks at Redeker to make this very neutral, have a third party to take care of that for us, and that was very, very helpful. You can see we had 130 sixth grade seats. We're adding another section back into sixth grade this year, and we had dropped our numbers there due to the number of seniors graduating and the fact that we were really trying to be compliant with the Department of Education to be right at 966, which was a goal that they had given us, which we achieved, but now we can start adding into that sixth grade class. So we're adding one section to that sixth grade class, and that's mainly because we found that our eighth graders are going to be actually one section smaller than they were this year. So we're going to be able to pop a section from 8th down to 6th. So 130 there, you can see that, you see where it says ineligible to enroll, 103. Those are those Marlboro students that, due to the net cap spending, we had to pass over them. which was very disappointing to us. We love our Marlboro kids, but it is the regulation from the Department of Education. There's nothing that we can do about that. So we still have 92 sixth graders on a wait list. You can see that there is 32 Marlboro siblings, but there's 52 siblings from all our towns. 20 from Clinton, 49 Hudson, 15 Maynard. Non-core towns, 12 students have been taken in there so far. In 7th grade, because we had only 105 in our 7th grade, in our 6th grade this year, we're going to add 15 in. Once again, as our older kids graduate, we're going to make sure that we have targets of where we're heading for enrollment in middle school and lower school. And what we need to do is start shifting more kids down into the middle school and balance that out a little bit better. If you want more information on that, I can get it to you. Any questions on the lottery?
I just have one question. If, for this year, the Marlboro was ineligible, for next year, can they try to get into 7th grade, or will it
Yes.
depend on whether or not Marlboro is ineligible again?
So they should always apply.
Okay.
Always be encouraged to apply every year. We have to wait. The Department of Education didn't tell us until February 15th if they were going to be eligible for the lottery or not. So I would always encourage everyone to apply, and we'll see what they say. It all has to do, for the most part, with if Marlboro, the school system itself, falls in the bottom 10% on the MCAS scores.
Yeah.
So they were that 1 year, so last year we were able to take Marlboro students in. They're back up again into like the 22%, and so it closed us off again.
Got it.
So it's dependent on how they are doing over there.
Question, for the next school year, can additional families put themselves on the wait list?
You mean when you reapply in the fall?
No, if let's say a new family moved into Hudson
Today? No.
So there's no way, our wait list is fixed until
Next year.
next
That's
year.
correct. They put their applications in starting at the end of October through, the holidays. I think actually the beginning of January is when they close that down, and that's it. Once those applications are closed, it's closed until the next year. Any other questions on that? All right, and this is just a little bit of information. You may know, you may not know that AMSA and Lesley University have been involved in a partnership since last spring that we've been in talks with them. We signed an MOA with them in the fall. This is a program that Padmaja Bandaro, who's here, brought into AMSA. This is, what we're hoping to do is to be able to train computer science teachers. Padmaja would teach some classes after school. They would end up with this particular program earning a master's degree and a license. It's a 14-month program. It is full-time. They're here at AMSA, working with and being mentored by our computer science teachers, and as I said, taking classes after school with Padmaja. And so, we're very excited about this program, but we need students. Now, we want to start out slow, so it's like 1 or 2 maybe for next year. So if you know anyone who might like to be a career changer and might like to participate in a program, and they say, I work at Microsoft, but I would really love to teach. This is the program for you. Okay, so Quest Diagnostics. Oh, we had so much fun there today. So Scott and Mark Vital and I went to Quest Diagnostics, it was a few months ago. And we had some initial conversations with them. We weren't really sure, we were hopeful, but really weren't sure where it was gonna land. They invited us to come back. When we walked into the conference room today, there was 10 executives in there. And they were just, the notebooks were open, and they were already all on board about what can we do with AMSA. And they had just a list of things that they were excited about, some of the things that we talked about when we were there a couple months ago. So none of this is in stone, but these are all things that they think that they can make happen. And they're right across the street, so this is very, very exciting. We really solidified the partnership over the next 18 months. Some of this is going to be happening, especially the student tours, towards the May and June after AP is over. But but there's all kinds of things that we can do with them. It's rather exciting. So student tours, these will be targeted tours. They have one of the most amazing industrial robotic systems there that you have ever seen. In fact, it's one of the largest ones in the world. The way that they move all their samples through this particular lab, and it's all automated, it's all computerized, and Scott is in the process of redoing our robotics curriculum completely, and it's going to be based a lot around what they're doing here and the way that industry now is using robotics. No more of the tinkering with the Lego thing. So we're going to be completely doing that. So there's in biomedical, molecular biology, and they're going to be targeting different, as I said, different groups and bringing them over there so that they can see real life. We also talked about data analysis, and that they're going to show us about how they do and handle all of their data, and our kids will see that real live, experience. Quest speakers, they can come here, they can come into classes, they can make it part of the tours. They're going to present real-life anonymous case studies for us of interesting, cool things that they've experienced. Scott mentioned that it's very difficult, actually, to find case studies that are real, that are relevant for today in textbooks and things. But this is the work that they're doing every day, and they share, they do that kind of work with each other, and now they're gonna make that part of what they can share with our kids too, which I think will be fascinating. Mentoring opportunities, job shadowing opportunities, curriculum support. One of the things that they have a lot of entry-level jobs there, and in a lot of, like for summer jobs, where if our kids were trained properly, they could work there all through the summer once they turn 18, in breaks and things like that. They pay, those summer positions pay well, and so one of the things that Scott's going to be working on is what classes can we do to help move some of our kids to certification so that they're ready to work in one of these labs. A lot of the equipment that they had over there, Scott has upstairs. So our kids have seen a lot of it, they work with some of it, and so this is very exciting, and along with that, intern opportunities. So this is endless. They need, what they are looking for is feeder programs, and I know ASABET has been involved with them too, because they talked to us about the work they've done with ASABET, so anyway, very exciting. All right, so here we go, a little razzle-dazzle time. All right, so this is really cool. Mike, Naraki, can you click that link for me on the bottom when I cue you? In the blue there's a link. So you can see, this is a group of our 11th and 12th graders over here. For a couple years, Rachel Jackson, who's up in the back in the gray sweatshirt, long black hair, has been going over to Kane Elementary School here in Marlboro. No, not yet. Nope, not yet.
Oh, will you cue me? Sorry.
Okay, so Rachel's been going over there for a couple of years. She's using this as a senior project also. It was something that she initiated and started herself. Now they have a group of kids that are doing this. Now what's interesting about what Rachel started here is that Mark got involved, Mark Vidal, and he has now brought this to the Marlboro STEM Council, and now we have ASABET has adopted one elementary school, AMSA has Kane, and then Marlboro High has another school. And they've all duplicated the program that we have here, and all the kids are going into the elementary schools and they're teaching this. This is happening during half days. So when the teachers are at PD, our kids are out the elementary school, so it's super, super exciting. This got picked up by the local cable channel, and Mike, if you wouldn't mind now running that.
Amazing! A buzz of excitement filled this 4th grade classroom Thursday, and it was all thanks to science. A new program in Marlboro schools aims to do just that. Inspire interest in STEM subjects like science.
I really like working with kids, so I thought this would be a great opportunity.
High school volunteers like Rachel Jackson bring their passion for science right into elementary classrooms. In a fun way, volunteers from the high schools use lessons and labs to teach younger students the ins and outs of science. Today's lab, how to make slime.
There's a big mess everywhere, but I think that only shows how much fun they had.
But this program is bigger than just science itself. It's an opportunity for all the schools in the city to finally work together.
We have never really done anything collaboratively in the past.
And it's the types of schools involved that make this program so unique.
Public high school, a public charter school, and a public regional technical and vocational school.
No other district in the state runs a collaborative program like this.
And I hope that it's a model that's used in every city across the Commonwealth. I really think Marlboro can lead the way.
Many of those volunteers used to sit in those same seats.
It's kind of like you get the same smells back from when I went here. You walk the same hallway.
And the hope is that those same students will one day grow up and come back to teach the same things. Reporting in Marlboro, Megan Parsons, WMCT News.
They had a really good time with that. And our kids love to serve, and that's heartwarming. And when they talked about, the first time I saw it, and they talked about the fact that these are the halls that these kids have walked when they were in elementary school. My gosh. You know, kind of gets to the heartstrings, right? Can you make it bigger? Where'd my clicker go? Okay, thank you, I got it.
Set the next.
Yep, okay, there we go. All right, so I wanted to give you a quick little update on Diderot Society because we have two podcasts that now have been published. One is Steve Smith, who's an 11th and 12th grade English teacher, but he was also a journalist at one point and teaches a journalism class here. And it's a great interview. Get a real feel for Steve. And the other is Alex Waldron. I haven't listened to yet, but I hear it's rather funny. Alex has a great sense of humor. And so that's the link. So you can always go back to our board report, which Sarah can share with you through the Board on Track, and you can take a listen. Also wanted to let you know that we will be publishing the North Star Diderot Journal, which will include teacher and student writings and essays. So that's another part of it. And I mentioned to you back in the last board report that we also had a colloquium night, and Jess Bowen was there, and she did a fantastic job. It was a wonderful night. So Diderot has really taken off this year. A tremendous amount of work has gone into Diderot Society by both Jordan Hill and Dr. Lewis. Okay, so some upcoming events. Wanted to let you know of a couple things that have actually already happened, but they're there in blue. We had a speaker, Katie Gear, come and talk to our parents on the evening of the 25th and all our kids yesterday about internet and technology safety. And then yesterday, as I said, was the lottery. Exciting, nerve-wracking. I don't know why I was so nervous and excited about it, but it was great time.
We're probably going to let you come back either way.
Yeah, maybe. I'm still waiting, Jess, for the news on that. We have a PTO meeting coming up on March 3rd for those of you who are parents. Women's Day, UNICEF put a little plug in I happen to be one of the advisors for UNICEF, so a little plug there. But also, we have very special speakers coming in, and that's Sheila Kelly and Maura Webster are going to come and speak about women in industry, which is exciting. Put a little plug in there for Quiz Bowl Trivia Night because you were going to do it anyway. Well, I was thinking that it would be great if some of our board members got together and put together a team for Trivia Night. It's a great cause for our Quiz Bowl team, but also, hey, just bonding fun for the board. All right, so we've got
$50 to enter a team of up to 5 people. And
Here's your
we
plug.
have had board teams in the past.
Yeah, I think we've had board teams the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Okay, you're our game guy, Roger. Counting on you to put this together.
I'm really bad at trivia.
Me too. I'll cheer you on.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be too jet lagged and landing that day.
Next year, come on.
that's right. Come on, Ben's in. All right, so we also have the International Festival coming up Saturday, March 21st, Family Forum, which is one of our evening ones on March 31st. Liz often comes to that to see us. Another big night is Science Research Night. We talked all about this to the Quest Diagnostic folks today. They were like giddy excited. I think a number of them will come. And so we typically, meet ahead of time and have a little meet and greet time, and then we walk over here. And if you haven't been to Science Research Night, the only way I can explain it to folks is this is nothing about volcanoes spewing fake lava. This is all about the deep research that our kids have done and work, some of them, over 3 years. It's worth coming out for, it's worth seeing, and a piece in the community newspaper, Cindy.
I know, but I'll be in Hawaii.
Oh, okay. I'll take pictures and send them to you. With volcanoes in Hawaii.
With the volcanoes.
We have, just to kind of give you some things that are coming up, Senior Awards Night. You've all gotten to save the date from me on that on May 20th. Great night to come to. Graduation, obviously save the date for June 12th, 6:30. And just a plug for the PTO's golf tournament that's coming up. We're starting to pull in teams and money, so now is the time to click on that and get your golf team together and think about different ways you can support us. You can volunteer your time, or you can put together a tournament, or you can sponsor different things. It's all on the website. It has its own webpage. And there is our wonderful poster put together by Mr. Mike Finkel.
Very nice.
Parents have been working tirelessly on this thing. I can't tell you how impressive their work has been. And then I was in Florida last week, so just some botanical gardens there, and then we were on the beach at the sunset on Tuesday night. It was about 80-something degrees, and this little guy came down, sat next to my husband, and then he fed him sausage, and he loved it. So there you go. He was a very large bird. But anyway, we had a wonderful vacation, and I hope you all had a good week too. And that's what I got.